National Coastal Highway. It connects Egypt, which is south of us, to Mesopotamia in the north. You will be traveling along this highway for most of the day. So this coastal area that was broad, easy for people to travel. We'll talk a bit more about some stories, and I'll remind you of this, but think of this. Joseph goes to look for his brothers. Remember? They're tending their flocks. His brothers throw him in a pit, and there's this caravan that passes by. Where are they heading? They're heading to Egypt. They're traveling on this highway that you're traveling on today. Okay, not necessarily the road itself, but this whole plain was this highway. Okay? Then the next north-south zone, which is to my left, your right, is this spine of hills. This is where the French bread gets puffy. It's this spine of hills that forms the spine of the country. It's called the hill country. Okay? Places like Galilee, Samaria, the hill country of Judah. All of these biblical names that we hear are in this hill country. When the Israelites penetrate into the land, this is primarily where they first settled. Okay? Now, I want to direct your attention to two features of this hill country, though. Right up here in the north, you see kind of this, the hills are broken up by this big valley. If you're looking at the big map, you may not see the topography, but if you see places like Nazareth and Afula on the big fold-out map, that's a part of this big valley here called the Jezreel Valley. We'll be there this afternoon. The Jezreel Valley bisects the hill country in the north, which means that it becomes a corridor connecting the coast with the area on the other side of the Jordan, east of the Jordan, that we'll talk about in a minute. So the Jezreel Valley becomes an important corridor for travel. Down in the south, right here, if you look on your maps and you find Beersheba, on this map it's right down here, Beersheba. Okay? This is another valley corridor that cuts through the hill country that also allowed people to go east-west. Over here you have the spice traders, you have the goods that come out of Arabia and so forth, going to the coast and from the coast on. So the hill country gets cut through here in the north by the Jezreel Valley, where we'll be today. In the south, it gets cut through by what in the Bible is called the Negev. Okay? Where Beersheba is. Okay? So these are the two valleys that cut through the hill country. So, north-south zones, we've got, our first one is the coastal plain. The second one is the hill country. The third one, where you see the blue on your map, the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea, this is the greatest part of the greatest scar on the face of the planet. It's called the Syro-African Rift. The scar is a fault line that starts all the way up in Syria and goes all the way down to Lake Victoria in Africa. The Red Sea is a part of this. The Dead Sea is a part of this. The Sea of Galilee is a part of this as well. You'll be staying in this big rift tonight. Okay? That's why this huge scar at the Sea of Galilee, you are 600 feet below sea level. The Dead Sea, of course, is the lowest spot on the face of the earth. It's 1,300 feet below sea level. Connecting the Sea of Galilee in the north and the Dead Sea in the south is the famous Jordan River. From the southern tip of the Sea of Galilee to the northern shore of the Dead Sea, as the crow flies, is 60 miles, more or less. In that 60 miles, the Jordan River meanders 200 miles. Okay, so it's a very windy course. And truth is, well, it's not the Mississippi. Let's just say it that way. Okay? In my neck of the woods, we'd call it a crick. Okay? So, but anyway, so this is the Jordan Rift Valley is how we refer to it. We'll see that. Then the fourth zone. Now today, the Jordan River forms the border, more or less, between the state of Israel and the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan. But when you think about the biblical land of the Bible, it extended to the eastern side of the Jordan River too. There were 3 tribes: Gad, Reuben, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Okay, that did not cross the Jordan and come into the western where we are now. They stayed over in what's called Transjordan. And so Transjordan is this region here that goes along the eastern side of the Sea of Galilee, the Jordan River, and the Dead Sea. This is where, in the Bible, you hear of the land of Bashan. The prophet Amos compares the women of Samaria to the bulls of Bashan because they sit on their ivory couches and feed their faces while the poor suffer. So Bashan is up here in the north. What today is part of what is called the Golan Heights. Okay? You also have the area of Gilead. Okay? We hear about Gilead in the Bible. This, in fact, Gilead is this area, and you can see, like on this map over here, Remote Gilead. Okay? So this area right over in here, Gilead was the area where the tribe of Reuben and Gad and Manasseh parked, for the most part. Then you get the area that is around the modern capital of Jordan, Amman. This was the area of Ammon. Okay, the people of Ammon that we hear about in the Bible. South was Moab. Who do we know from the Bible that was from Moab? Ruth. Okay, this is where she's from. Okay, we won't go to that area because we're not crossing the border, but we'll see it when we go to the Dead Sea. We'll see the area of Moab. Then south, the far south, where Petra is. If you've ever heard of Petra or seen like Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade, okay, that part of that was filmed at Petra. Also, the second Transformers. You saw that. I mean, trying to be contemporary here. That was also part of that was filmed at Petra. Anyway, that area around Petra was the area in the Bible of Edom. Okay, so this is the biblical land. 4 north-south zones: coastal plain, hill country, Rift Valley, Transjordan. And here's the kicker that I want to keep emphasizing. It's the roadways. And the fact that we're traveling now along this coastal highway, you will see pretty quickly that we are going to pass from kind of nice alluvial soil moving into an area of sands in this northern part of the coastal plain where we're heading this morning to Cesarea. Okay? Coastal highway, hill country, Rift Valley, Transjordan.
What city is that?
This is Netanya.
Okay? Any other questions?